What's up? Corey James here. Let's talk about ancient symbols. More specifically, this ancient symbol right here. Now I know what you're thinking. That's not a symbol, that's a handbag. And you're not wrong. It looks like a handbag. It's being held like a handbag. Logic would dictate this is a handbag. But what's inside? Or a better question, what is this meant to represent? Because although it looks to be nothing more than a literal handbag, the fact that we seem to see the same handbag depicted the same way, in the hands of the same gods, among numerous ancient civilizations, lead many to speculate this might be more than just a handbag. And while I know you may be skeptical at first, as was I, the more I investigated this mystery, the more I began to realize there might be something to this. Now, as you can imagine, this is not what you would call a topic of debate among the scholars because, until evidence proves otherwise, for all intensive purposes, this is just a handbag, which I think we can all agree is a fair assumption. That being said, the minds of said scholars are pretty narrow and dismissive when it comes to topics of this nature, so let's look at another theory. Many have speculated that what we are seeing is advanced technology, possessed by the gods, that of which the ancient people had never seen before, and a handbag was the only way they could best depict what they were seeing. Example, something like the life support systems carried by the astronauts. So first things first, the obvious question. What makes this more than just a handbag? Answer, if it is just a simple handbag, why depict it in the first place? Logically, what significance or use could a simple handbag possibly have in a context such as this? Let's jump over to the first ancient civilization that we see the handbag depicted. Göbekli Tepe, which actually gonna kill two birds with one stone here because prior to the discovery of this ancient site, Stonehenge was humanity's oldest ancient complex dating back to around 3200 BC. So, to illustrate my point that mainstream accepted theory isn't always correct, and in the case of Göbekli Tepe, not even remotely close, this ancient complex dates back to 10,000 BC, over 6,000 years older than Stonehenge, and a time in which, according to the smart people, humanity was just stepping into the pre-pottery age.
Well, the sight of Göbekli Tepe really did send shockwaves through the whole world of early prehistory, because we'd never before known or imagined even that simple hunter-gatherers could produce such spectacular monumental structures. The site of Göbekli Tepe is a series of circular enclosures, but then in the center of each enclosure you have two particularly big T-shaped pillars of limestone. Now, many of these pillars have remarkable carvings on them, wonderful carvings and bas-reliefs of animals, birds, insects, all kinds of things. So to fashion those and carve them and set them up in these structures was just absolutely amazing.
Now let's get back to that second bird and talk about the handbag, which if we accept that it is just a handbag, what possible reason could there be for this? Now this is an interesting question because seriously, why depict three handbags hovering? Yes, hovering, because I'm not seeing any hands or anything really holding these handbags up over what seem to be some really smart birds, a scorpion, and various other creatures. Which brings us to the cradle of civilization, ancient Mesopotamia, home to humanity's first ancient civilization, the Sumerians, and origin of the wheel, writing, astronomy, agriculture, and many other firsts. It is also the next location for our ancient handbag. Depicted are the Anunnaki, a race of giant, powerful beings who came from the heavens, bringing with them knowledge of the universe and technology of the gods. We have the Tree of Life, or what some call the Tree of Knowledge, and a pine cone, a symbolic representation of knowledge as it is associated with the third eye, which is associated with the pineal gland, which derives its name from pine cone. Now, obviously we have a lot more going on here, but let's stay focused on the basics for now. Taking another quick trip, we encounter the ancient Egyptians, where we have the same handbag. However, the earliest representations aren't necessarily a handbag, it is the Ankh, a symbol associated with knowledge, life, and is associated with the goddess Isis, who is the wife of Osiris, who is associated with the symbol known as the Djed, which is a symbol of stability, life, and craftsmen, or creators, both of which are often seen together. Now let's take yet another quick trip over to ancient India and the temple of Brihadasrava, a Hindu temple dedicated to Shiva, one of the 3 major deities in Hindu religion. Once again, we have the exact same handbag, completely out of context, hanging on a tree. Next, let's head over to the ancient Mesoamericas, where we encounter numerous representations of the exact same handbag, again completely out of context, and in each case the single commonality seems to be flying, or the ability to fly, as we have flying serpents and winged beings. So, we have numerous ancient sites and civilizations separated by time and land, yet they all seem to be telling the exact same story, and in many cases, this handbag seems to make an appearance. Why? What is so special and significant about this so-called handbag? Why does it always seem to have an association with life, creation, knowledge, and flying? Why is it that only the gods seem to hold this handbag, and why does this handbag seem to go hand in hand with the tree of life? Which, let's just be honest for a second, really doesn't look like a tree. It actually looks more like this. A Tesla coil, or a more modern day representation would be a high voltage electrical transformer, which, I get it, is a hard concept to wrap your head around, especially if you are somewhat new to this topic, but let's explore this a bit. Our ancient ancestors were not stupid or terrible artists. They clearly knew how to depict a tree, yet when depicting the tree of life, a tree is not really what we're seeing. So you have to ask yourself, could this be a representation of something else? Could this possibly be the depiction of the power source? Could the handbag that we see depicted be a type of storage device? Something similar to a modern day example of a rechargeable battery or a computer system that could be easily transported to something like an aircraft. Now, even though that is a very far-fetched idea, the fact of the matter is, none of the modern day academic, archaeological, really smart people explanations even come close to explaining the construction and purpose of so many of our ancient structures. However, a power source and machining and modern day tools fit the explanation perfectly. Now, I understand that certain theories come with certain details that some may call ridiculous, but that doesn't change the fact that those theories could also be right, because again, you really have to ask yourself, logically, is this just a simple, obscure handbag, or could it be something else entirely? How's it going, everybody? Corey James here. Just wanted to say thank you for checking out the video. I very much hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, do the little guy a favor. Hit the buttons, the like, the subscribe. If you're feeling a little frisky, hit that notification bell. Leave me some comments, suggestions on future videos. Do it all. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.